What's up guys, it's that Panda guy and I'm here again with another video, and today we're going to be talking about the recent patch notes and everything. We're going to be talking about the updates coming up. There were some confusions along with down here, right, where you had some adjustments to some of the hero skills, and it was actually clarified in the moderator chat on Discord, so I will be looking through some of what Cynthia set up there and just kind of relay some of the information so you guys can get a little bit more clarity on how those updates are going to work. Either way, new vehicle system on the 29th, which, you know, the thing is, guys, I'm a little bit twisted on this update. I'm a little bit like kind of back and forth. Like I like some of the updates here, and then I'm like, you know what I mean? Because we know how the devs are. We know like a new system is probably not going to be good. It's probably going to be something pay to win friendly, you know what I mean? They're going to be they need a new revenue source or something probably. So I'm assuming that this is going to be semi pay to win at the very least. Not only will it probably increase your travel speed, I'm assuming I'm assuming, you know, there might be other buffs like defense or attack, and I guess we can only wait and see to really understand the full nature of how this is going to work, if it's going to be like super skewed towards, you know, people who spend money, or how that's really going to work, you know. Okay, so building custom hub unlocked at headquarters 17, build to customize vehicles. So I don't really have anything to say about this. I mean, I guess we're gonna have to see if this is gonna be something like squad skins, you know what I mean? Where you're gonna be spending money to customize vehicles, or if you're gonna be able to do this for free, or if you're gonna have to use like maybe resources, right? Like it's kind of like unlocking certain buildings in your base, right? You know how some require resources or some require gyms. Maybe that's gonna be kind of how it is, like similar to that. So I guess we'll really have to see on that. Yeah, they basically tell you a few vehicle names, which is Beetle, Bourbon, Dicky. Okay. Attributes, firepower, and protection. So, you know, I guess we can assume that these are going to have some sort of stats which are maybe similar to attack and defense, you know what I mean, which is firepower and protection. So we will see about that. Customize vehicle display in Commander UI, whatever. Choose vehicles to deploy with squads, kind of like squad skins, you know what I mean. New legendary gathering hero, Sarah Vindermeer. I don't even know how to pronounce that. I'm scuffing the hell out of that. Obtained free from limited time events starting on the 29th. I guess that's a nice thing. Like, who doesn't like another hero? I mean, I'm not spending my stuff on it, that's for sure. AR and IR raid optimizations. Optimized matchmaking mechanism, adjusted rating of top commanders and alliances. I really enjoy this update, as long as this is how I think it's gonna be, and it's gonna be like it's trying to balance out stuff. So if you have someone like I don't even know, if you have someone like SafeMe in your alliance, you're probably going to be more likely to land in G1, like vastly more likely. So if they're doing it like off a rating system, you know, I guess we'll kind of have to see. Maybe it's going to be based off armaments, maybe it's going to be based off your gear, maybe it's going to be based off all the above, which I would assume would be the case. So I'm really looking forward to this, and hopefully this does make matchmaking much better, because I was actually talking to someone, and this is actually one reason I actually like this this debuff of sorts on Julia. I was talking to someone, and it was actually perfectly time, because I was even contemplating doing a video on this, and I might still do a video, but it was talking about like how I think like there's a lot less interest, for example, in a bracket like G1, because if you guys don't notice, you remember Island Raid, we used to have hours or even days longs of fights in whale alliances, right? But now it's kind of like it ends in a few hours, because nobody can take the onslaught. If you're on the defensive, you just literally have to tank as long as possible, and you're getting onslaughted by a bunch of range rallies that are just pounding you down into oblivion. And it kind of gets rid of a lot of the balance and makes the game, I would say, less interesting to an extent, you know what I mean? Either way, this was kind of interesting. So it does look like they kind of balanced it out, sort of, and not to mention just the matchmaking mechanism, which might make a lot of commanders much happier, you know what I mean, with their matchmaking and not having to land in G1 if you don't have whales, etc., etc. Players can earn points when the squad is heavily wounded. An an island raid. I always say AR because I don't like pronouncing this, like our archipelago, an island raid. Each battlefield unit, including commander headquarters, checkpoints, settlement, pioneer watchtowers, and rally squads, can only receive damage from a maximum of 3 rally attacks at a time. Additional rally squads will not deal any damage. And this is basically telling me that you can send more than 3 rally squads, but only 3 will actually deal damage. The one thing that I was curious about, and people were saying that it's probably going to be the case, was so what's probably going to happen is you're going to have 3 rallies actually hitting and doing damage, and then you're going to have the others hitting but they're not doing damage. And I was like, oh well, can these rallies take AoE damage? And people were saying yeah, they probably can. And if that's the case, that's kind of skewed. I mean, it's good to an extent, but at the same time, it's like, these rallies can't even do damage. Isn't that kind of skewed? Like, they're just stuck there, and I guess, they'd be tanking a bunch of AoE damage from, like, Lewis or something, and that would be kind of messed up. Although, like, I guess these will just circle, so if you cancel one rally, the next rally will start hitting, which to a level, that's actually pretty nice, because then you don't actually have to wait on, like, chain rallying, you know what I mean? So this is actually semi-good. I don't really have any issues with it. I don't think it's, like, a crazy amazing update, but it is better than just being like actually hit by 5 rallies or something consecutively, because when they let that come back to the game, that was so scuffed. New player benefit optimizations. 1 point bonus. New commanders earn additional points when participating in AR and IR and even Alliance League. Bonus rally participation rewards. When new commanders participate in alliance rallies, all rally participants receive additional rewards. I'm assuming that this is like concerning like hive minds and all this type of stuff. I can't really be sure. And these are basically just like, these are just things to kind of accommodate newer players, which I mean is a really good thing. I think it's always nice to kind of accommodate the new players, especially now more than ever with like migration and stuff. It's just much harder to kind of hold on to these new players, so they definitely have to be a little bit more accommodating. And finally, we're going to be talking about the last stuff, okay? So, this is hero balancing. So, number 1, adjusted Julia's rage skill, stunning magic, enemy squads inflicted silence will not be inflicted with silence again. And this wording is so confusing. And we've said it time after time, but the developers are absolutely garbage with their wording, you know what I mean? And even Cynthia even had to, like, people were asking questions in like the mod chat, right? And Cynthia basically was saying this stuff, and I'll just kind of read it out to you guys so you guys can get a better understanding. And they basically said 2 silences cannot happen at the same time, and they basically like had to like correct the wording here, and they were like, adjusted Julia's rage skill, stunning magic, enemy squads inflicted with silence will not be inflicted with silence again until it wears off. Right? So basically you can't stack these silence skills, right? And that would kind of be what happens when you have, for example, in G1, I don't know if you guys will notice, but a lot of the time you'll have multiple Julias hammering a tower, and the issue here is it's so hard for a defense or a garrison to really perform well against this, because these silence skills are just going round after round after round after round, and they're just stacking on each other, basically making dropping skills really hard, right? And they're basically going to be trying to I guess put some like time between these like silences, you know what I mean, to force you to not just stack these silence skills on top of each other. So it's not exactly nerfing Julia, but it is kind of helping in the regard of this. And I guess if you have multiple Julias on the field, you can't kind of abuse this mechanic, you know what I mean? I still think that Julia is going to be an extremely good hero. I'm still going to use Julia. She's just not going to be used in that regard, you know what I mean, to kind of abuse and stuff. And second, continuous damage skill optimizations. Continuous damage dealt by the same hero will be calculated independently and will no longer affect each other. This was a little bit confusing to me, and I couldn't understand exactly, but it was clarified as well by Cynthia. And people were making assumptions like, oh, maybe this refers to Elena or refers to May, their type of skills. And give me a second, because okay, so the example that she used was, for example, some skills cause X damage per second and last for Y seconds. After the optimization, the damage caused by the hero but different skills, so caused by the same hero but different skills to the enemy, will be calculated independently. So basically, with the optimization, if you and another player use the same hero at the same time, the hero's rage skill with different with damage per second, both of you can deal the full damage without affecting each other. And I actually wasn't super savvy on this, but I guess this is kind of a buff, you know what I mean? So that's actually I mean, I guess that's not a bad thing. You know, I don't have any issues with it, but I do think that this will be a good thing in general, like especially the Julia one, because I think like the abuse used by like running multiple range rallies and hammering down on towers was so abused, and it just made playing this game so hard, especially like when you're just, I don't know, as garrisons, it just makes it really hard, and it kind of like skews the balance in the favor of like attacking. And although like I don't mind like attackers having an advantage or Garrison having an advantage to an extent, right? I think like when it comes to it being so heavily I screwed into your favor, you know, there definitely needs to be balancing, and I think like this update is actually a net positive in that regard, you know. So I actually like that as a personal opinion, right? I mean, some people might not like that, especially if you're the person who's usually using it. But yeah, there's also a new squad skin called Whaler. I mean, who would have guessed, guys? Who would have guessed? Like, it's not even going to cost $600. It's going to cost $800, right? I don't actually know. I'm just, you know, making a joke, okay, guys? Either way, you guys give me your thoughts about this update. I do want to hear what you guys have to say, you know what I mean? And I do appreciate you guys, as always, for watching. If you guys want to drop a comment, give me your opinions, maybe speculate a little bit more about some stuff, feel free, okay? And I do appreciate you guys, as always, for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy, and I will see you guys in the next video. And that is it. Peace out.